All right, this is the coach for fittestover40, and I'm with American record holder 45-49 age group pentathlon, Machael Janusey. And Mike, you just finished the pentathlon today, and how did we do today?
Oh, I'd say I felt pretty good. I was pretty pleased to do it this early in the season. For me, it's pretty early coming from Pittsburgh.
We had a hot day here. It looked like it was about 88 degrees, something like that, and
pretty hot, yeah.
You held up pretty good.
You know, it was challenging, but you know what? That's what it's all about.
Mike, how long have you been doing the pentathlon?
I did my first pentathlon in '96. I was almost 39 years old. I was at this track, actually.
And so you said earlier that you had the record in the 40 age group.
At one time I did, and somebody a lot better than me broke it.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot better than you, but he got it a couple of years ago there. But so today you may have broke the 55 group record.
I think
we have to wait and see if it's going to be official, but you're right there.
Maybe.
So what happened today that was so good for you?
Well, you know, I jumped about what I thought I would do, and my javelin was a little better than I thought. My 200 was pretty much what I hoped. Discus was a little off. That's what scared me. And then my 1500, you know, it's just a gut out, and I did my best. I was probably about 10 seconds worse than I thought, but with this heat,
yeah, the 15 was just it was tough out there, no doubt about it.
I'd have liked to stayed with you, but you're an animal, so forget that.
Well, that's my event, but that you know, you have the others where you're really strong. So when you were young, in college and high school, did you do like the decathlon, or what did you do?
I jumped in high school.
Yeah.
And then I went to college and I picked up the javelin, long jumped, triple jumped, threw discus, went to a small Division III college and just jumped in wherever they needed me, did some sprinting. And I just love track and field. It's in my blood, and I watch track and field like most people watch football around my hometown. So
for the most part, you're a thrower, jumper.
I love the throws.
And like the short stuff, the sort of 1500 really is something you just like, well, I have to do it. And
1500 is one of those, hey, just gut it out. I try to train for it as much as I can, but you know what? Most pentathletes struggle in the 1500. You got your special people like yourself, but 1500 is one of the things you just put your mind to it and say, well, you got to do it. It's the last event. When you're done, you're happy.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah. So when you do any open events, you pretty much stick to the javelin and long jump?
I'll run the 100 just because I do decathlons, and I'll do high jump. I just try to do every event I can, so I'm a pretty good decathlete.
Right.
And of course I do throws, but you know, javelin, you know, you wear out your arm if you throw too much. So I will throw open in nationals, but some of the other meets I throw in the pentathlon, and usually that gives me my high for the javelin.
Right. So you done a couple Masters decathlons too?
I've done many Masters decathlons.
Okay. Because there's not too many of those to even do.
Well, there's a couple a year.
Right.
I've won a couple national decathlons, and I just, you know, if you're a multi-eventer, you love them all.
Yeah.
I've done some throws, pentathlons. I actually won nationals last year in that.
Okay.
So that was kind of exciting. I just love the throws. I struggle with hammer, and I'm just learning that, but I'm okay at the other one, so I get by.
Now for the decathlon, I mean, you have a practice facility where you can like do the pole vault and?
Well, I actually have a pole vault pit in my backyard.
Do you really?
I got a.
All right, so see, you're serious, hardcore like I am.
Sidewalk in. I bought some of that rubber matting that you can get from some of the track and field supply companies. So, you know, I just decided if you're going to do it, you know, there was a high school that had an old pit. I got it for next to nothing. And
okay, now
I put the sidewalk in myself.
Right.
I have a backyard that's big enough. I get about 50 meters of runway because I practice my long jump into my pit.
Wow.
Because, you know, none of the high schools around me leave out any pits or anything. So it was either get your own or waste your time just doing it at meets, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be somewhat prepared in every event.
Yeah, you got to be. Right. Otherwise, I don't want to waste my time doing it if I can't be prepared for it.
Right.
Now, you mentioned you had the hips replaced, both hips. Now, that wasn't because of some pole vault accident on that, was it?
No, my grandmother blessed me with terrible hips.
Oh, really?
She had hers done, and the doctor, my surgeon, told me it's in my genes. So, yeah, I had my first hip done in 2004. had my other hip done in 2006. Basically lost about 5 years of competition because you really need to let those set in for about 18 months each. So as soon as this one was healed, I had to have this one done, basically. So, and then I took it easy for a year, so I did a lot of swimming just to stay in shape during those years. And then about 2008, 2009, my surgeon told me I could start running a little bit. So I did, and I go down to see him every year. He wants to see me, and he checks me all over, and he just shakes his head and says, keep doing what you're doing because everything looks good. So, you know what? I'm not going to sit in a wheelchair or sit in a chair or mope around and say, you know, I got ripped off. I'm going to do what I can do and let the chips fall where they may.
You know, now it makes sense because when I first started competing in Masters Track, this is my 4th year now, and Pentathlon was the event, and the first thing I did with Masters Track was look at the American records in different events and see what can I possibly have a chance at. Right. And I said, well, I'm a pretty good athlete, Pentathlon, 1500 I'll do well, and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, I can throw that javelin, I'm sure. Well, of course, it was a little tougher than I thought. But then I noticed you, who had the record, you had your hips done. And I go,
disappeared for a while.
Well, he was gone for a while, and then when you came back, your scores, I think, were 2,900 or something when you first came back.
You know what? I kept getting
so I didn't know really what happened to you. I said, well, he's done fall and all. I said, they changed the scoring system, and now,
off,
yeah, he what?
No, I'd have still been doing them, but yeah, that's what happened. And then, when I tried to come back, I pulled a calf muscle because it had been so long.
Yeah.
And of course, I started
rush
too
it
hard.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was I had a hernia. So I had to have a hernia operation.
Oh, jeez.
And then I pulled a brevis adductor right off the bone, in Finland. I went to the Worlds, decathlon, doing high jump, ripped it right off the bone, had to fly home. They couldn't operate because it was a clean pull right off so I just kept getting injured, and I was really getting disappointed and frustrated. And finally, 2010, I went to the National Decathlon, and I had a huge meet. And it just pumped me up so much, and since that time I've been, just steadily trying to do my best. And I've been pretty injury-free. Everybody has your nagging injuries, and you deal with them at this age and just keep going and doing what you can do.
Exactly. All right, Mike, well, thanks a lot for spending a couple of minutes with us, and I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see you at maybe the meet in Charlotte coming up in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.